Established in 2001, the Rhumbelow Theatre in Durban closed their doors and ceased operations since the end of 2017 due to the big October storm in the city late last year. Well, the venue has now been fixed after extensive renovations and refurbishments, and it's ready for its grand opening on the 6th of July. For more on their reopening and exciting shows they have lined up for July, let's now speak to Roland Stansell, who joins us now from our Durban studio. Very good morning to you, Roland. Thank you so much for joining us and welcome to Morning Live.
Good morning, good morning.
Now, let's first start by talking about the Rhumbelow Theatre. It's been closed for a while now. Can you tell us why it's been closed and what inspired its reopening?
During October last year, when we had that huge storm in Durban, the wind blew our front window out and blew lots of rain and water through the ceiling. And unbeknown to us at the time, also lifted 5 tons of roof and dropped it back onto our rafters, cracking many of the beams. When we took the ceilings out to check and to replace the ceilings, we then discovered that many of our rafters were damaged, so we had to get the insurers involved and structural engineers to check the safety, at which point we then realized that the roof needed to be repaired and braced and supported to ensure that there was safety for our patrons and safety for the MOF members who still use the hall. And that led to the decision to close whilst we refurbished and fixed up the damage. We then decided at the same time that maybe we should look at refurbishing the venue. So we've now spruced it up with some paint, new curtains, some new lighting technology. Some of our lights are 17 years old. So it was time to relook the whole venue and say, how do we take it forward from our 18th year, well, this is the beginning of our 18th year this weekend, and rejuvenate the venue. And one of my main reasons behind this is that the Rhumbelow Theatre in Durban is the last and the only independent theatre left in KwaZulu-Natal, and certainly now is the oldest at 17 years as a little independent community theatre.
Yeah, and it's community run, and it actually offers local talent a platform to hone their skills. It's been doing so for decades now. So the closure of this theatre surely must have had a very devastating impact on the business, hasn't it?
We did try and move the theatre to a local church. We do have a partnership with the St. Cyprian's Church. They are also part of the MOF, many of them, and the MOF also go along to a lot of their services there. And whilst it did work for some shows, it wasn't as successful. I think the general consensus from our patrons is we like the Rhumbelow and when are you reopening? I think part of why they like the Rhumbelow is that it is community spirited. You can sit outside, and I would like to believe that we're probably the only theatre in the whole of South Africa that you can come along, bring braai meat, good old South African braai meat, and throw it on the braai and have a beer, you know, braai face and Borie rolls, etc., etc. So I think we are quite unique in that offering in Durban.
Unique, you certainly are. And today actually marks 18 years since the theatre was launched. Share with us some of the highs and some of the lows of the theatre since its formation and along the journey.
I think we've had some great shows, great times. The economy has been tough, I think, on everybody. We've felt it like everyone else in the entertainment industry. If I had to share things that from a community spirit that for me are the highs, is many years ago the MOFs run and sell flowers at the cemetery, and their little hut was falling down. So the Rhumbelow Theatre funded a new hut for our MOFs who sell flowers at the cemetery. And then in 2005 we had the tsunami. I woke up one morning to discover that we had this disaster across the other side of the world. And I phoned all the guys involved and said, hey guys, I think we should do a fundraiser. And my entire staff, whether it was performers, actors, my cleaning team, my security team, all made a decision that they were going to volunteer their time and we'd do one show to raise money. And we, in those days, I think we were probably 100 Rand a ticket. And we thought, well, 150, we were 150 seated, we would raise 15,000 and we would give it to the gift to the givers who were involved in fundraising. And we ended up raising 21,000 odd, which we gave to the gift to the givers. We had people hanging through the windows. We had people donating money who couldn't be there. And I think we were one of 3 theatres and probably the first theatre to announce that we were going to do a fundraiser for this global disaster in 2005. So I think that was also a nice achievement for the theatre in terms of the spirit. The moth insignia or logo is TC, what's true comradeship, mutual help, and sound memory, which is part of the moth, what they stand for. And I think the spirit of the Tsunami fundraiser fitted very well with what the moths are all about as an organization.
Well, Roland, all the best, man, in your reopening and for future shows. We really appreciate your time. That's the head of the Rhumbelow Theatre, Roland Stansell, and he joined us from our Durban studios to speak to us about their reopening that's happening this week. He also touched on the exciting lineup of shows they have for July. So now back to Tabile.